Go to Washington now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to meet with President Trump at the White House today. It comes as the Middle East remains on edge over recent threats of an American attack on Iran. Netanyahu's office says the Prime Minister wants today's talks to include limits on Tehran's missile arsenal and support of proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas. Speaking with Fox News yesterday, President Trump warned Iran would be foolish not to make a deal.
We have a massive flotilla right now going over to Iran. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal. I think they'd be foolish if they didn't. And I would say that I'd rather make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. No nuclear weapons, no missiles, no this, no that, all the different things that you want.
For more on this, let's bring in Dan Raviv. He's a veteran Middle East journalist and host of the Mossad Files podcast and author of Target Iran. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. So this is going to be Netanyahu's sixth visit to the White House during this current Trump term. What kind of influence could he have over the president's approach on Iran?
Well, I would have to observe that the Israelis have had a lot of influence on Trump. No foreign leader has seen Donald Trump more than Benjamin Netanyahu, but they're not totally in sync. The Israelis want to be sure that any deal with Iran is not only about the nuclear program, that it be totally confirmable by foreign experts and inspectors, but in addition, as you reported, the Israelis say that Iran has to agree to reduce its supply of ballistic missiles, the ones that go high in the atmosphere and could hit Israel. That, of course, happened last June during the brief 12-day war. And in addition, that Iran not try to export its Islamic revolution, in other words, support for extremist or terrorist groups around the Middle East. The Israelis wondered if President Trump is remembering those other demands. And so this was Netanyahu's idea, to come to the White House today and talk to President Trump. You know, it is said, certainly by foreign diplomats, that often President Trump seems to listen the most to the last person he's heard. And so Netanyahu hopes to get the last word in on this.
That's a good point there, Dan. Let me ask you about the first Board of Peace meeting that's scheduled to happen next week. Of course, that's the board that the President of the United States has put together. Is charging countries $1 billion to be, is that right, $1 billion? I think
I thought so,
$1 billion to be a part of it.
Not everyone.
Not everyone is
invited,
going to be paying that. None of our Western allies in Europe are members of this Board of Peace. But has Netanyahu, I know he's agreed in principle to be a part of it, but is he a permanent member of that board, so to speak?
There are so many questions. Their accounts haven't been audited. We don't know who might be paying to get in and who might not. It's kind of symbolic. Last October, at the time that the Gaza war ended, at least in the sense that all the hostages were released by Hamas in Gaza, President Trump proudly had his plan, his 20-point plan for the future of the Gaza Strip, saying that Gaza could be rebuilt and there would be moderates in charge. We don't know who that'll be, but the Board of Peace, including countries like Turkey and Indonesia, would have some influence from the Islamic side, if you will. Israel has its doubts. Netanyahu said he would participate. But again, just to get his opinion in there, by the way, Gaza is another subject on which the Israelis and the Americans generally agree, but not totally. And so Netanyahu wants to get his word in that Hamas has to be totally disarmed, and Hamas has not been totally disarmed.
All right, Dan, thank you so much.